and thank you so much for joining us for Butterfly Tea Time Tuesdays. We hope that you have your tea and your coffee ready. Today we're going in with a magnificent lupus warrior named Aleathea. Hello, Aleathea. Thank you so much for joining us for tea today.
Hello, thank you. This was actually right on time. Thank you for having me.
She is a lupus warrior. She is a mother. She is an author, a life coach, and a lupus advocate. We're so happy to be highlighting her today and everything that she's doing for the lupus community. So thank you so much for being here today, Aleathea.
Thank you for having me.
So Aleathea, what state are you coming through to us in?
I am in Atlanta, Georgia.
Awesome.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we just really wanted to highlight Aleathea. We see a lot of the things, and Delibra really scouted her out through the lupus community and really noticed a lot of her works, and we just really wanted to highlight her today for everything that she's doing to create a change in the lupus community. She's an author, she is a single mother, she is a lupus warrior, and she is also a speaker and a life coach. So welcome, Aleathea.
I'm like, ooh, do I do all that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and some more.
That's a lot.
Everything. I was just listening. I was like, she does everything.
A change agent, honey. Change agent.
Yes. So, Aleathea, how old were you when you got diagnosed with lupus? Like, what did that journey look like for you?
So, just imagine a newlywed, 26-year-old, really then living her best life. One day just started falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
Getting up and could barely walk. And I knew there was something wrong. I knew my body at that age. I was always told that as a woman, you got to know your body. And so I literally went home one day and I Googled everything that I was going through. So like my symptoms, I literally put in, fatigue, rashes. Like I just put in everything I could think of what was going on. I went to the doctor and the first doctor says, you have bed bugs. I'm like, what? I go home and I'm ripping my sheets off. And my husband at the time, he's like, if you're getting bit, I should be getting bit. I was like, okay, it's something else. Go back. They're like, oh, it's just a dermatology thing. You just have rashes. I said, no, there's something else. So once I started doing research, I said, I think I have lupus. I went into my primary care and I said, you need to run my blood for lupus. And she said, why would you think that you have that? And I said, these are my symptoms. And I looked it up. You know how back in the day, everybody Googling and looking up WebMD. And so I was one of those and I was terrified. I was scared. And then they called me back into the office November 11th, 2011. It was Veterans Day because I had off work. And she and my husband, we were all looking like, what's going on? And they're like, we tested your blood for lupus. And in fact, you do have systemic lupus. And you need to go see a rheumatologist ASAP. Like, can you go today?
Wow.
So it was, I'm 26 and I'm like, what? A life-threatening illness? Like, I only heard about lupus maybe a few times. I think it was Toni Braxton, the singer, and then on America's Next Top Model. And I was like, when I thought of her, I actually was like, I'll be fine. All she does is get tired. And then I went to my rheumatologist. I finally had got an appointment with one. And then that's when it really hit me that this is serious. The rheumatologist got on the phone with my primary. And when I tell you ladies, he was yelling. He said she needs to get an EKG stat. Like he was yelling, like I dropped to the floor crying. I was by myself at that time.
Wow.
I got off work and got an appointment with him. I was terrified. And he said, you can't go home. He said, I need you to go see this pain management specialist. I need you to go get these different various tests. You guys know that. And I'm doing all of this. I called my job and I said, I can't come back to work. I have to go get these, additional tests done. And I'm driving myself around all day. And I literally run out of gas. I'm on the side of the road just praying and crying out to God. I'm like, you know that word lamenting?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
there's different types of cries, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was lamenting. So
Yes.
I'm literally pulled in front of someone's driveway so they couldn't even get in their house. And I'm just crying like, why me? Like,
Mm.
why is this happening to me? Have I not been a good person, a good mother, a
Mm.
good wife? You go down this list, like, why is this happening to me? And if you read a copy of my book, you'll find out. I found out what my why was. By the
Mm.
But make a long story short, because y'all know the stories are long. You know, I was diagnosed and I tried my best to gather myself, my thoughts, my feelings about it. And I just decided I'm going to live one day at a time
Yeah.
and try to figure it out. And
Mhm.
along this journey, I just passed my 11th year anniversary. I've found a lot of ways. I found loopholes is the name of my book. So you have to figure it out that there's always a way and that you can keep going. I think sometimes what happens is we tend to say, I can't keep going. And then you find yourself and you don't, you know. So that was 11 years ago that I was diagnosed.
Wow.
Good
Amazing.
story.
Yeah.
And I'm celebrating every day.
Yes,
part,
honey.
yes, that's
Got
right.
to. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Absolutely.
Ma'am.
I
Wow.
completely.
I definitely can't wait to read your book about all the
Amen.
goals that you've found day by day to make this a more
Yeah.
manageable condition and to still
Uh-huh.
be shedding light
Yeah.
for all the other warriors and making a way.
Exactly.
And I think that's what it's about too when you're recently diagnosed and it's something so new. You go to your first, you know, emotion is like fear. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do I do? Am I not going to be here tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
And the number one thing that I think that has helped me tremendously was to educate myself.
Yeah.
Like I needed to know, like I went in with every doctor with a list of questions. Well, what does this mean? And why do I have to do that? And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I asked so many questions. I researched. I think that same week I went to the library and I had a book stacked up to here that were about lupus
Mm-hmm.
that I could just take in. What am I dealing with? You know? So
And I think, yeah, and I think you raised a very important point right there, because so many times we're so confused with the new diagnosis, and getting information and being aware of what's going on in your body makes you empowered. That gives you your power back, because you feel lost.
yeah, for
It
sure.
sure does. It sure does.
And it's okay to admit that you're lost. It's something new, you know. As a mom, I was like, wait, how do I change it? What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to not know answers, but it's not okay not to ask.
There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There you go. Or try to find the answer. Yeah.
That's a T chair right there, girl.
Yes.
That is. So taking your
Yes,
power
honey.
back.
Yes.
Was that us cleaning our cups?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
100%.
So based on just what you said, so what inspired you to become a life coach and an author?
So that actually was a dream of mine since I was little. To say I wrote a book, you know. Over the years of my life, I had nothing to really write about. I didn't think anything was like significant that someone else would want to read. And I've always been a poet and a songwriter. So I was like, I need to sit down and write a book, but it didn't come to me until years and years later after my diagnosis. And so the book is a loophole, spelled kind of like lupus.
You know, I have that, right?
Oh, look at it. Yes.
And it's, you know, I didn't think people would understand, okay, why is she calling this book loophole and it's spelled differently? So I had to add overcoming the odds living with lupus. So every time I am introduced and they're like, you have lupus, you know, and people are very curious to find out. But my book is not just about lupus.
It's not.
It's really about how you get through life's anxieties.
And I love that.
I found 7 ways, and I said I need to write about these ways. You know, and so I discussed 7 different loopholes that I found. while trying to figure out this new life with lupus, right? And so as I mentioned before, I was previously married. So I did go through a divorce, and I had a very difficult marriage. Especially towards the end, it became very violent. So I'm definitely a domestic violence survivor, and I definitely bring awareness to that cause as well. But one of the loopholes that I found that I discuss in the book is self-love. Like I didn't know what that looked like until I said, I need to go search for this. And so that is how I became an author. I said I needed to write down how I'm dealing and coping with my own life. I needed to figure out if I can't heal completely from this thing, I need to figure out the coping that I can do like on a day-to-day basis. And so me going through a divorce and raising a son up by myself and dealing with lupus, and it was like I was getting attacked in so many different ways. And I said, you know what, I need to go see a therapist. So I went to a therapist. I went to see her. I actually saw her for about 4 years. She was the one at the end of like our sessions. She'll say, you just make a really great life coach. And I'm like, well, what is that? And what do I do? And she says, you do it every day. You motivate them, you get them on the field again. I was like, I do that. I love doing that. I do it every day. And she said, that's why you should do it, because you do it with not getting paid. That's a passion of yours. I just never put a words to it, but I was like, I am a life coach, So she was the one that set me up. She told me what school to go to, how to get certified. She gave me a business plan, and she said, have at it. I mean, I was talking to everybody. I was like, do you need a life coach? Do you need a life coach? And then, imposter syndrome set in, and I was like, am I qualified to be a life coach? A hairstylist, you go to school and you're a doctor, you got to go to school. I was like, that program was like, I think 9 months. I was like, I don't feel qualified. But the qualifications that I have are life experiences.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Which comes back to loophole.
Yes.
So I named that program Loophole Lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that I live this way. So remember I said I had to learn how to take this lupus thing one day at a time. It's 1 hour at a time. It's one moment at a time. And I still have my moments because this is not gone away. I actually just came out of a flare not too long ago, like a few weeks ago. I was like, calm down. But there's always loopholes around us, like to get through life. Like, and that's
absolutely.
Those were my qualifications. People ask me, how are you getting through this thing called lupus? How did you get through your divorce? How did you get through, being a single mom? And so that's what really just kept me going was, I would get sick and I was like, well, how can I work and make money?
There you go. Yeah.
Life coach. Right. I'm at home. I can talk to you on a Zoom, StreamYard, whatever, and I can coach you and you feel like I'm right there with you. So this was actually a blessing for me that I found this occupation to actually be able to take care of me and my child. So yes, I think we got another question.
Yes. Before you answer the next one though, can you share one of your my favorite quotes that you always talk about? About the butterfly.
One of my favorite quotes?
It's my favorite quote. I've heard you say it.
Oh yeah, that's my quote. I came up with that because
that one.
So with lupus, we all know the colors are purple and the butterflies are a symbol of transformation. And we get that butterfly rash or the malar rash that comes up on your face. And I said, one thing that I know about me, I don't care what I've gone through or what I still will go through. I always try to find good in something. Always. So I love how the lupus community added the butterflies is a symbolic of that. And I was like, wow, the butterfly is so beautiful. So I started thinking about what it means, and not even just the transformation, but you actually have to pretty much kill the old you and become something new. And it literally is such an amazing experience to watch and see. Like I've actually, me and my son, we'll go collect caterpillars and wait for them to become butterflies and then let them go. And I just think we see God's creation and we see it in ourselves, and we know that old me before lupus, that was a whole different person. I'm a
Oh.
new person now. And the quote, as the Libra is asking for, is once you're a butterfly, you cannot get back into the cocoon.
And I love that.
You are not that same person.
Yeah.
You are not that same woman. You are
Mhm.
not the same man if they're watching. You
Yeah.
know, you allow yourself to transform, and you don't have that guilt and shame that you're something new,
There you
because
go.
you shouldn't have that. You know, we're all changing. And if you're not changing and you're not growing, then we know you're dead. You're dying. So we want to
Yeah.
constantly be on that mission of growth in different stages in our life. And I just love, you know, the analogies that you can use when it comes to the butterfly. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sitting with you ladies right now, and we're doing butterfly tea time. That means so
Yes.
many different things. I didn't even think about it until I was coming on. I was like, okay, I love the butterfly. I have butterflies all around my house. I got my butterfly rings on, like I'm crazy about them. But the thing with me is, I was like, I drink tea every single day.
Yeah.
Tea, it soothes me, it comforts me, it keeps me going. And I'm like, we have nothing but time, so we have to do great things in our time,
Mhm.
you know, and be mindful and aware of what we're doing with our time. Like right now, I had this scheduled to be with you ladies. Nothing else could come in between what I got going on with my time,
Yeah.
because our life is precious. I've lost many butterflies, many butterflies. And so I just keep trying to honor them
Mm.
and making sure that I keep flying
Yeah.
and keep flying higher and higher and higher, you know? And so I really appreciate you guys' platform. I love this.
Girl, you are inspiration, honey.
She is.
You
You are so
are.
amazing.
You are
Sometimes
fit
I'm
in
like,
me.
and it can be a lot. And I think sometimes people don't share their stories of their
Mhm.
guilt, of how hard it is. Like I had bronchitis last month and I got into a flare. And you know what I did? I laid on this sofa in front of my fireplace. I listened to music and I said, I'm going to rest and I'm going to take care of myself. So I
Mm.
get back in the swing of things, you know,
There
and
you
you have
go.
to know that. So one of the things that I do to manage myself, because that is one of the things that I coach on in life coaching, you know, you find a specific niche or niche, and mine are soft skills. These are things that you're not necessarily taught. So time management,
Mm.
communication, you know, personal management of yourself. That
Yeah.
is part of a skill that you have to have,
Mhm.
because you're raised, you're just taught routine. Get up, brush your teeth, wash your face, have some breakfast, get your clothes on, go to school or go to work. Those are routines, but they're
Yeah.
not skills.
Yeah.
So I had
Very
to teach
true. Very
myself
true.
how to take care of myself. And I had to throw the word balance out the window. That is the definition, and there's a word that exists, but it doesn't exist in my life.
Yeah.
Balance is, it's okay if people use it. I don't mind, but
Yeah.
I personally had to throw the word balance out, and I love the word you guys used. I had to adopt manage. I just had to learn to
Mhm.
manage everything. And I
Yeah.
literally have a coaching meeting with myself. I'll write everything down and I'll tell you guys exactly what I do. I first write that word spiritual. What are my goals? How am I doing? What am I trying to work on? What's not going so well? And I work on those things, and I say, okay, I feel good about that. I
Yeah.
go next to emotional. I recently went back to my therapist that I had for 4 years
Yeah.
because I was going through a lot of transitions myself, and I said, hey, I need some help. So I check in with myself and my emotions and how I'm managing myself when it comes to those things, even when I'm interacting with other people, whether they hurt me or maybe I did something to them and I didn't mean it. Like I had to learn how to communicate in a better way and give myself some time to handle my emotions, because my emotions are the number one reason why I get a flare.
Mm.
My number, and you have to pinpoint what flares up your lupus or what flares up anything, a headache even. You have to know your body and connect with yourself on such a level so you say, you know what, I knew I shouldn't have ate that, or you know
Mm.
what, I shouldn't have talked to that person that long, and we, you know, they were very hateful and talking to me like that, and
Yeah.
it bothered me. And then now guess what, now that it's bothered my emotions, it's going to bother my body. So I
Yeah.
have to be very mindful, and I have to,
Yes.
you know
There
how they
you
say
go.
protect your peace.
Mindfulness.
I didn't even know what that meant, to be honest with you ladies. I was like, protect my
Uh-huh.
peace, what does that mean, what does that look like? And I had to find what that meant for myself, whether it was, hey, I got to discontinue this relationship. You know,
Yeah.
we hear of saying we have to love you from afar. And
Yeah.
I'm not that type of person. I'm actually, what do they call it? When you just want everybody and everybody belongs to you. That's the type of person I am. So it's very difficult for me when those relationships dissolve. So I have to take care of myself when those things happen. The next one on the list is physical. So I have to make sure my surroundings are great. Okay. My house, my car, anywhere I'm going. And like I'm a big energy person. So I have to make sure like my home is organized and, you know, I just have a good flow. So physical is not just, are you going to the doctors and getting your medicine? Are you eating the right food? And are you sleeping well? It's so much more than that. It's everything you're absorbing, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're absorbing into your body. So for me, I was like, whoa, this is a big one. I got to really manage it every day from the time that I wake up. You know, I try to start my day with a daily scripture, you know, like, you know, just so I can have something good on my heart. Right. And then, and you guys already know, I have to have some tea.
Gotta have that tea.
You know, the most important thing that I feel that has helped me is setting those good boundaries. Like, I really don't talk to anybody before 10 o'clock in the morning. And at first people were like, are you crazy? People work, people need to get in contact with you. And I'm like, if it's business related, sure. But like people just wanting to call and chat or gossip, I'm like, call me after 10 o'clock. Because before 10, I've gotten up at 5, taken my son to school. I've done my morning routine that makes me, you know, operate at my highest self. So now I can give me to the rest of the world. But
There
I
you
gotta
go.
take care of me. So when it comes to physical and having, you know, multiple autoimmune diseases, I got to check in with myself at every second and say, no, you need to rest. Something's happening. You need to relax and, you know, wait to see what happens, but take care of it now before it happens. The other thing that I've done, as far as like writing down my list and having a coaching session with myself, this is the big one. Financial. Financial is a big one because I didn't realize that was another stressor.
Oh, definitely.
If bills aren't getting paid because I was sick, I had to figure out how I can automate money coming to me, whether I'm working or I'm resting. So that was a big one. And I kind of just have my little financial checklist and I check in with myself and give myself a grade and say, oh, you're doing good in this area. Oh, you need to work on that. You know, like right now it's the end of the year. I'm working on I wanted to hit a goal, you know, to have money saved before the new year. And I was like, oh, I got to work a little hard on that, you know, but you sit with yourself before you hear anybody else's opinions, before you hear anybody else's ideas. You get to know who you are and you sit with yourself. You can live life a lot better. You really can. And that's why I have to do it, because I'm telling other people to do it in my coaching sessions. And then if I'm not doing it, they're looking at me like, well, why'd you tell me to do that? I only tell people things that I know that have worked for me. And if I don't know something, I am a researcher. I will go find out. I'm like, well, what's that? I want to know, you know, so always staying, you know, open and willing to learn has been a big blessing for me, because it gives me hope for tomorrow.
Well, and that's the whole thing about not being in stagnance. That's
you got to keep flapping those wings. You got to keep flying. Right.
Stagnance is death. The minute that you stop growing, stop evolving and changing, you don't grow.
Do you guys remember the movie Finding Nemo?
Yes.
With Dory, gotta keep swimming, you know, just keep swimming. I had to keep telling myself, just keep flying, just keep flying, just keep flying, you know, and that it made it better for me, because now it attached to something that I love. So I'm always like, okay, how are we flying today? You know, sometimes my wings get wet, sometimes I gotta go duck off in a tree, but I'm gonna still fly.
That's right.
You know, so
and this conversation,
she knows I love to talk, so
you get what you're saying. We all need that, because sometimes we forget to do those things, like making time for ourselves in the morning, not answering the phone, putting it on silent or do not disturb, getting your scripture for the day. I mean, those are things that help balance your day, help make your day go much better, and maintain your peace.
I do handle things
100%.
better when I start my
Without
day
any
well.
like without any life boundaries and without any boundaries of what comes into your space, like
Mhm.
you're just bound to like encounter anything every single
That's
day.
right. That's
Could
right.
start at
Sure.
9, it could start at 8, but like if you have your routine of self-care and what your boundaries
Mhm.
are,
That's
you're gonna
right.
continue to grow in the way that you want to instead of
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
coming into your space. I know one of the things that Delibra has really talked a lot about is some of the things that you do with your diet for inflammation and just like eating
Yes.
well for wellness.
So I realized every year I was in the hospital multiple times, and I'm like, I have to be the one to manage this, and I need to, figure this out. And that goes back to just everything that you're taking in, from what you're watching, from what you're hearing, but then also from what you're eating and digesting and how you're taking care of yourself. And so for me, it came across like, hey, have you ever heard of pescatarian? And I'm like, no. And I was like, what is that? And they're like, you don't eat a lot of meat. You're just eating, seafoods. And I was like, oh, I love seafood. I'm like, I can eat seafood all day. And so me removing, the red meats, even chicken, turkey, all those types of meats, I removed them from my diet. It's been about 5 years now, probably a little longer, but I noticed the difference. I noticed the change because along with having lupus, you're more susceptible of getting other things. And so I was diagnosed with GERD, which is, your gastro area. And so I'm like, what is going on? And I said, I need to change the way that I eat and what my body doesn't like this.
Yes.
So I stopped eating meat for a while. I introduced eggs back into my diet because of the protein. So technically, you know how we got technical terms now.
Yeah.
I am an ovo-lacto pescatarian. So there's some milk that I still drink. It's not cow's milk,
Yeah.
but like I'll drink almond milk, and for me, I had to stay away from soy because I thought soy was good for me, but my body rejected it. So almond milk works best for me. And then and I say this for everyone, having lupus or not, figure out what your body wants and what your body
That
craves and
part.
what your
Yeah.
body
Yes.
because it's different for every person. My body loves green things, so I have to eat something green every day.
There
It doesn't
you
matter if it's
go.
small or large. I need to have green in my body. So I started really sitting with myself and I tested out. They say do a food journal. I did a food journal and I was like, girl, you did not need those 2 bags of chips. Like, so, and I could tell, hey, you don't need to eat that. And if you do it in moderation.
Yeah.
Even when it came to like drinking wise, like alcoholic beverages, I had to kind of become a little menial, like come down on that. I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
you can't be celebrating every weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I had to,
because when it does affect your medicine.
It does.
It actually does. It likes
Mhm.
it likes it.
It
It's like
does.
you didn't take it. So it's like, okay, you got to be mindful because you don't want to take your medicine and then it's not doing anything, and then you have the worst flare in history. Like, well, what happened? Well,
Yeah.
I had a little too much.
The doctors aren't going to sit down and tell you every single thing. They're
No.
going to mask your pain. They're going to mask this illness, and you have to figure things out for yourself. That's why I said educating yourself is so important, but not just what's in the books, what's in you, figuring out who you are, knowing what you do on a day-to-day that's going to affect what's going on in your body.
Absolutely.
And that right there was I want to say a game changer for me.
Yeah.
I was like pescatarian, so I'm over here cooking my salmon and I'm taking my omega-3s, and that has helped tremendously.
Okay.
If you can eat seafood and you can, choose this type of diet and you have autoimmune, because it reduces a lot of inflammation, the things that are on the list. Do it.
Yeah.
I've been at my best these last few years for sure.
Yeah,
So how do you do that and do it in a way that's cost effective?
Well,
Seafood.
everything's about preparation.
Yeah.
Right. So and knowing yourself. So I know how many times I eat. So like I do the intermittent fasting. So I eat between 11 and 7. I only eat 3 times a day. I'm very much more mindful of what I'm eating and putting into my body. So if you know what you're going to eat, you map out a meal plan, you find where it is cost effective, like what stores to go to. But I'm gonna have some asparagus, I'm gonna have some salmon, I might have some, some rice, some brown rice, and I cheat a little bit on my rice, y'all. I put a little chicken stock.
Right.
I do cheat. I put a little chicken stock in my rice because I need flavor.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not cheating.
That's not really cheating.
When I started eating that brown rice, I was like, what am I eating? Like, I don't like brown rice.
Like
when I add the chicken stock to
you need something.
Yes. It flavors it up, and I'm like, this is good. And it's one of the meals that I eat often, having those great snacks in between. So when you budget it out, so first you got to know what you want to eat, map it out, write your list out, know which stores to go to, know what the costs are, cut coupons if you need to. But I probably spend a good $50 a week on groceries, and I eat very well, and I eat very pretty. And when I say pretty, I mean, you need to have color on your plate every time you eat. Even if it is breakfast, have eggs and some strawberries and blueberries. Antioxidants, y'all know about that.
We're gonna have to come back for a cooking segment.
And a lot of times with chicken broth, a lot of times they actually have turmeric in the chicken broth, which is another.
And another one besides the chicken broth is bone broth. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but back in 2018, I was dealing with cancer. They were saying you have stomach cancer cells, and we need to attack this while we can. And I was not having it, you guys. I was like, God, I've already been dealing with this lupus thing. Yeah. I'm not dealing with cancer. Right. And so I did all the treatments that they had me do. But then I also was introduced to bone broth. And bone broth I still drink it and eat it. I put it in soups and things like that. So it just really depends on what your body is needing and what it's craving. And sometimes we're just giving it what we want. And it's like, you got to take care of your body. Yeah. You can't just think of what you want all the time. If you want to be here and you want to be healthy and you want to be able to meet new people, you got to be here. So it is planning out your day, out your week, figuring out how you even want your day to go. I do a lot of scripting. I mean, you guys should see my notebooks and my papers. I script all day. Because I'm like, if I have the power to have my day the way I want it, I'm going to do everything in my power to get my day to be how it is. So
I love it.
What I hear is organization. You got to take the time to have a plan.
Yeah, that's a life coaching skill that I've had to learn, because I can't say I'm like coaching on life and I'm not organized myself. Exactly. And so my mom, she's so funny. She comes over here and she's like, you just leave things where they are. And I'm like, it makes me have less anxiety, And so right now with my life coaching, this is actually my favorite time of the year, because everyone is gearing up for the new year. They want to hit those goals. They want to be able to achieve what they put on their vision boards. But what I do is I still love vision boards and I still do them. But I've graduated a little bit from them, and what I've incorporated into my coaching is what I call vision mapping. It's one of my most favorite things to do, you guys. And I've had about 6 people this month already sign up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm blown away.
Awesome.
And I realize everyone wants the same things. It's just packaged differently. So now I have my own formula on how to do it and how to make sure they do it and it gets done quicker. I love it. I'm so excited for this new year, you all. Vision mapping is a whole thing. You take what's on the vision board and you put it on another board and you map it out on how you're going to get there specifically using SMART goals. You got to use SMART goals.
Yeah. Well, I got to work on this.
Specific.
SMART goals.
I'll send you guys some things.
You're helping me.
Measurable and achievable goals.
There you go.
Exactly. And a lot of times people's goals are achievable. It's that they have people around them saying, oh, don't do that, or you can't do that, or even themselves saying, I can't do this. But when you have me, the energy there, holding your hand, saying, yes, you can, they get it done. One lady this year, Monica.
Yeah, I love Monica.
Monica Ellis.
We gotta have her next.
Monica, we love you.
She did not want to write a book. She wanted to, but she's like, I don't think it's time. I can't do it. I said, Monica, you're writing your book this year, and you're going to have a book tour, and it's going to be amazing.
There you go.
And wait a minute, it's kind of over there. I can't reach it, but I have her book, and I'm so proud of her because we sat down and we made a plan.
Yes.
And then I'm checking in with her every week.
There
Did you do this? Did you do that? And I said, I know I'm gonna get on your nerves, but if I didn't, I don't love you. And then she's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then I do it with love. I really do, because if I became an author, I know other people can. If I own a tiny house. I'm in a tiny house right now. I did that. I know I could show other people how to do it. And because of that, I became a realtor this year. And that is a whole nother world. I love it. You have to keep yourself having dreams and goals, because then that will make you try to reach them.
Yes.
And so it makes you keep living. That's really what life is about. So, like, honestly, one of the biggest goals of next year is I'm taking my dad to Egypt. I was like, I'm putting it on my board.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I already started buying clothes and outfits. I'm like, yeah. So it's like a daddy-daughter trip, but it's a big goal, and it hits my heart. And I'm like, I'm doing this. So you guys look out for pictures from Egypt. We're not going into October, but it's going to be amazing.
I love that. I love your dad. He is so sweet. He was so nice.
Yeah, he is. I don't know. He's been one of my warriors, and praying behind closed doors and everything. So I talk to him every week. There's not a day that goes by I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I love that.
Yeah, family is super important. That's another goal for me. Just seeing other people's walks of life. And when people say, oh, you have a difficult life, and I say, I'm just glad and grateful that I have one.
There you go.
I'm gonna, whatever cards I've been dealt, I'm gonna win. So you have to kind of.
We cannot wait to see everything that you have in store and all the different people in the Monica that you are coaching to achieve their most great life path and to inspire. So where can you find your book, and also Monica's, since we're plugging her as well? She's one of our friends as well. She'll be on the show this year as well.
Oh, nice. I'll be tuning in when I can, for sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I love talking about what I do and how I've gotten through some things. Maybe it will help someone else.
It absolutely will. And where can we find your book, and also Monica's?
Both of our books are definitely on Amazon.com. Loophole is spelled, with a U, so LUPEHOLE. And thank you. I kind of want to grab her book, but I can't reach it. And Monica's book, she goes by Mo Freedom, and that's I Sleep in My Jeep. And I'm so proud of her.
Hey.
Very creative.
Wow.
And then find you like on your social media platforms, and if they want to, just connect.
Oh, yeah. So they can connect with me on aleatheadejean.com. All my platforms are Aleathea Dejean, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Everything's just Aleathea Dejean. And that's just like the mustard, DIJON. So, yeah.
Beautiful still.
Oh, yeah. My lovely flowers. I opened a business in 2020 for Forever Roses. And that also stemmed from me having lupus. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're doing a lot of inspiring things in the community, and we just today and your book, and you'll be able to find this through connecting with her, or you can connect with Lupus Glitter, but she told you right where to find it. And thank you so much for being here. We'll definitely be reading your book and following your journey this next year.
Yes.
We're going to be flying.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies. This has been great. And remember, sometimes it's not a day at a time, it's an hour at a time.
There you go.
Bye.
Hey, pretty baby. Pretty baby. I've been waiting for so long, girl. To be with you alone, girl, yeah. Move your back against the wall, girl. Don't be afraid, won't let you fall, girl, no. You don't have to feel no pressure. We got all the night.
real quick before